So I'm finally back at it out here in the garage, and I do want to share something with you guys. I am not going to be running that turbo manifold that I originally made for this car. Reason being is I kept running into too many issues with the turbo placement sticking too far outside of the bumper, and then I wasn't going to be able to stick the bumper back on, which was fine originally, but the more that I think about it, I do want to drive this car on the streets on the weekends, you know, have it be like a weekend warrior track car. So I'm moving away from using that manifold. Good news is I already have everything to make a log manifold, which is what I'm going to be going over today. So reason behind me going with a log manifold is to just keep it simple, and I'll be able to run a normal front mount setup, whereas before the turbo was sticking too far out the bumper there, and I was running into all sorts of fitment issues. So I'm going to keep it simple, and it does set me back a little bit, but just doing a log style manifold is going to make all the other fabrication with the intercooler piping and everything else that much easier. So once I get this thing knocked out today, everything else is going to go pretty quick. So let's get to it. Alright, so let's go over what we got for this manifold build. We got some Schedule 40 1.5" weld elbows. These are the long radius 90-degree elbows. And then I got some T-fittings here, and then a PRL Motorsports cradled T3 turbo flange. So basically I can move this around on the top here, and it'll be easy to place my turbo where I need it. And then also this PRL Motorsports head flange. I can't say enough about these head flanges. They're great because they machine them to where they match the ports on the head, and then also the Schedule 10 just fits right in those grooves, really nice. So love these head flanges, especially after using the last one on my last manifold build. Decided to go with it again. So I am going to do a full cost breakdown at the end and let you know where I got everything and how much it was. Alright, so I got the two T's laying on the head flange here, and one is inside the groove, how it would be. And then obviously this distance here is too long, so we got to shorten this distance here in between the two. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a measurement at the edge of this T, this part right here, to this side of the flange, the circular part inside here. And whatever that measurement is, I'm going to go ahead and divide it by 2, and then I will make my cuts accordingly on each side to keep the distance between the two T's the same, and then it'll sync these guys, or shorten the length and bring them together. So easiest way to get that measurement is to leave this guy in place and pull this T off, and then get your little square or ruler, whatever you got. And I'm just going to line it up. Kind of hard to see. Let's see if I can do it this way. Line it up, the edge there. And it looks like it's around an inch. That goes to 6. This is a 5. So it's right about an inch, probably a little more. But I'll go with an inch. That way, if I do end up messing up a little bit on my cut, I'll have a little bit to play with. So I'm going to do 1/2 inch off this side, and then 1/2 inch off of this side. Alright, so we're still just a little bit too long. I did undercut these just a little bit, so I'm just going to take about 1/8 of an inch off on each side, and it should be good to go. Alright, so after taking another 1/8 inch off on each side, we are good to go. I got each side beveled. I got this little crappy Harbor Freight belt sander over there, so I went ahead and I threw a bevel, focus, threw a bevel on each side. So not perfect, but it'll get the job done. So now I'm just going to apply that same concept to these elbows over here. So measure the gap, and then instead of messing with this elbow on these sides, I'm just going to be cutting this side of the T as opposed to trying to line this up in my bandsaw. Is going to be pretty difficult. So I'm just going to measure this distance and then cut off whatever I need on this side of the T. Alright, so I still need to take a little bit more off of this side. Originally, like I said, I wanted to just cut the T's, but if I would have done that, I would have taken off too much material off the T and actually chopped it like right here, and then this wouldn't have butted up smoothly against this. So I just kind of took my time, made multiple cuts, and then brought these two closer together. And you can see I did this side's already done, and it's super flush, came out really good. So I gotta make like one more small cut on this T, and should be good to go. Everything's all cut and fitted up properly. Came out really nice. Just like I said, take your time, take a little section off of here, and then don't take too much off of this T, or else you're gonna lose this transition here. So came out pretty nice. I'm happy with it. I just gotta bevel these edges, and then I can tack everything into place. So a little trick, if you don't have a belt grinder or belt sander, or you have a shitty one like me, and you don't feel like taking the time to bevel the edges on a crappy belt sander, you can chalk up your angle grinder in a vise, turn it on, and then just hit the sides, and with a little bit of practice you can get some pretty decent beveled edges there. So everything's beveled, and we are ready to tack this thing in place. So once I got this thing all tacked together, I went ahead and I threw this on the car, and I got the turbo placement where I wanted it. So I made a mark for this flange, as you can see, and figured it would be a good place to run my back purge line into there. So I just drilled a hole, threw some aluminum foil around it so it doesn't melt this this tube, and I'll be able to back purge this thing. So I'm gonna get it welded, and then I can go ahead and cut the rest of my hole, put the flange on there, and then weld this guy on there, and then it'll pretty much be done. So pretty easy process, and let's finish it up. Alright, I got these 3 sections welded up on the manifold. I still need to get to these undersides down here, but the reason that I started with it on the flange and tried to get as much weld done as I could is because if you've ever welded anything stainless, it has a tendency to shrink, so I didn't want to pull this off while it was tacked and then weld it and then have these gaps shrink and then it not to line up back down here on the runners. So that's the reason behind that. But now that they're mostly welded, I feel confident that I can break these tacks loose, finish it up, and then it's not going to have that much movement. So, and then once I get it all the way welded up, I can put it back on the flange and then finish these welds down here. So, yep. Getting better. Alright, we got this gosh dang pipe welded up, and all I have left to do is cut out this hole. And where'd that flange go? Here it is. Cut that out, slap this bad boy on, tack it in place, back purge again, and this manifold will be done. Got my hole cut for my flange. It's not perfect, but it'll work. So I'm gonna get this flange tacked on here, and then we can burn it in. Alright, got the manifold all welded up, and I threw it on the car here just to see how it looks. Got the turbo bolted up, and it's probably going to do it for this video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I'm currently at 60 subs, and I am doing a giveaway at 100 subs. And since no one left me a comment on what the giveaway item should be, I came up with it myself that I'm going to be doing another log style manifold, specifically for a D15 or D16 head. So it'll be pretty much identical to this guy. So that will be the giveaway at 100 subs. And with that said, since I am no longer utilizing this manifold, if anybody wants it, just hit me up and I'll ship this guy out to you. I don't care what you do with it. You can just use the collector portion if you want, cut these guys off, whatever you want to do. It's yours, just hit me up. First come, first serve on that guy. And like I said in the beginning of the video, I'm just going to go ahead and throw everything that I purchased here in the description below, and how much it costs, where I got it from, all that good info. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.